Hi, Wade. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Debbie. Glad I could be out here to talk to you today and this late summer Southern Appalachian day. Still nice and warm, but we can tell, we see the signs of the leaves starting to change, that autumn is on its way. It's almost going to be
hmm
that time of change.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I live in Madison County, which is in western North Carolina, about 20, 25 minutes from downtown Nashville. I've been in this area for 14 years, and I got my first introduction to permaculture, or my inspiration for permaculture rather, by being passionate about nature and the outdoors and also about growing food. And those
Mhm.
two things came together when I learned about permaculture in the early 2000s. I took my permaculture training, my PDC, permaculture design certification, in 2010, and it really opened my eyes in a new way to
Mm.
how to look at lands and how to look at our relationship with the soil, with the water, with nature around us, with our own existence, where our food comes from, how we build our buildings, how we live our lives. um, I visited and volunteered with a number of permaculture projects, some relatively new and some established ones in the United States, in Nicaragua, in Peru, in India, and really learned a lot volunteering with those programs. I got my teacher training in 2015 with Jude Hobbs of Cascadia Permaculture, one of the women elders of permaculture, and began teaching several years after that. Along the way, I was on the founding team of Woven Earth, a nonprofit where we did projects in natural sustainable building, earthquake resilient building for Nepal, food forests, permaculture design, and we worked with local teachers, local nonprofits, orphanages, and different parts of the world with ongoing projects of service learning and also of sustainable technology. In the area here, I do several ongoing permaculture design projects and some short-term one-time projects, but I have a few projects I'm working on now. Um, Invasives removal and replacing with native species for pollinators and for land health. Work with fruit trees, work with garden designs, bringing in I'm very much into native plants, although there are a lot of wonderful fruits that are not native that integrate well into our landscape. So I do permaculture design and work in this area, and it's been a big part of what I do for about the last 15 years.
Mm. Sounds interesting. It sounds like you've been doing this all around the world. What do you see as kind of special to our area or unique challenges here?
Yeah, um, this area can be very productive because of the fact that we have four seasons. Um, some of the challenges can be that there's a lot of steep land here, and working with that can be a challenge. Um, in the past, since I've arrived, the past decade or two, land has gotten more and more expensive, so that's certainly a concern. The heavy rainfall can be a blessing and a challenge as well. So you can always, not always, but you can add water in some situations if you don't have enough, but it's hard to take water away when you get too much of it. So that can be a challenge in our area. But there's a lot of potential and possibility here with the land we have here in Southern Appalachia.
How are you connected with Earthaven?
I've met a lot of people and made a lot of friends at Earthaven in my 14 years here. Some of the first people I met who were from the Earthaven community were at the Southeastern Permaculture Gathering, which
Mhm.
is a really great resource for people who are interested in permaculture in this area, in this region. And I visited there multiple times, and definitely have been friends with and count as teachers some of the people there, including and there are more than just this, but I will bring up Chuck Marsh and Patricia Allison, who are very inspiring, who've passed, and
Mhm.
they were elders at Earthaven. Um, I co-taught a couple of workshops with Patricia, which was wonderful, and
Mhm.
um, have been to several events at Earthaven as well. So I'm happy to be coming out there to be part of this.
So can you tell us a little more about this workshop that we have coming up here?
I definitely can. I'm looking
Yes.
forward to it. This is going to be a great program that takes place over 3 weekends throughout the fall, September, October, and November. In this program, we're going to go into what permaculture is, clear up some of the misconceptions, and learn all the different ways that permaculture can be practiced. We're going to touch on some of the important topics of permaculture, the relationship with water, with plants, with animals, with soil, and with each other. And it's not going to be in quite the depth of a permaculture design course, but it will give some deep dive and some overview. One of the special things about this program is it's taking place at Earthaven, where there are a lot of people that have been practicing on the land and building it up over the years, active living examples of permaculture. And they've put a lot of thought into it. They put a lot of effort into it, and they've made some mistakes too that they've rebounded from and learned from. So the
Mhm.
participants in the course will get to not only have a lot of hands-on learning, but also going and seeing these living examples of permaculture at Earthaven.
The workshop is called Designing for Resilience. So why
Yes.
looking at resilience here?
I'm glad you brought that up, Debbie. Resilience is a good word to be using in these times. And it reminds me of that wonderful song by Rising Appalachia. Here in Western North Carolina and some of the surrounding communities, we learned a lot about resilience with Hurricane Helene coming through
Mhm.
and causing a lot of destruction, needing to work together to rebuild and to recover. And there's still a lot of signs of it throughout the area. I know you at Earthaven experienced
Mhm.
a lot of destruction there, and with the effort of the community, have rebuilt back a lot too. Same in the area that I'm living in as well. Resilience is really important now in these times because we really don't know what's going to happen economically with some of the systems that we've relied on, like always having inexpensive fossil fuels, with always having a grocery store full of food that we can buy that was imported from thousands and thousands of miles away. We also are running into issues of climate extremes. We just had in July, I think, the hottest summer that's in recorded history in the United States. And I know a lot of people have different varying opinions about climate change and what causes it. The thing is, there are a lot of extreme events happening. And regardless of our take on that or our political beliefs, we're all in it together and we're all going to experience that. So it's important to work together and be resilient in the way that we work with the earth and with the land and with each other.
Mhm. Yeah, we're hearing from folks a lot of desire to be growing food on their land. And
And that's one of the things is permaculture integrates a lot of those. Our relationships are really important with the things around us, with the land we live on, with our water systems, with the plants and animals, and with the natural environment that surrounds us too. With some of the practices that have come up in the past 100 years plus, just industrial practices, there's been a lot of rapid degradation of the land and natural ecosystems, and
Mhm.
that affects us when we don't have surrounding nature for beneficial insects. We have a bigger insect problem. When we don't integrate animals into our land, we have a situation where we lose some of the soil fertility, we lose some of our pest control and our natural pest control. So
Mhm.
I think it's important to integrate all those elements.
How do you define permaculture?
That's a great question, and that's probably something that people are going to come in with a lot of preconceptions with into the course. My
Mhm.
definition of permaculture is that it's an ethical design system for creating sustainable, resilient, and regenerative human habitat integrated with healthy ecosystems. So it sounds like a mouthful, but let's break that down. Permaculture is not having a garden or having a compost pile or having chickens. All those things can be part of a permaculture design, but it's a design system, a design science, similar in some ways to architecture. It also incorporates how systems interact with each other, which sounds kind of scientific, but it is. How systems of water, of nutrients, of food, of energy all interact with each other in places that we live. It also can include economics too. So it's a design system with ethics. There are ethics of permaculture that define, um, and I'll go into those real quick right now. The ethics of permaculture is care of the earth, care of the people, and sharing the surplus. And we'll go into a lot more depth of those in the course, but it means working with the rhythms of earth and the rhythms of nature, and maybe leaving that corner of the yard where so that birds and critters can live there, and not just cutting it down like the typical American lawn.
Mhm.
Caring for people means looking out for each other, uh, helping those who may not be as able to feed themselves, and sharing the surplus. That also means leaving some of the space for nature, and sharing the surplus with those in need. And that can be with humans, with nature, with whatever, wherever there is need.
Mhm.
And going into a little farther into the definition, I mentioned sustainable, resilient, and regenerative. And what do those mean? We hear sustainability a lot in our society, and being sustainable is good, but it's not enough. Resiliency is really important in times of extremes. Resiliency is the ability to withstand or bounce back from a difficult conditions, or a semi-catastrophic event. And
Mhm.
regenerative is very important, in my opinion, in these times where a lot of land's been degraded by bad practices. Sometimes you see all the topsoil scraped off when that subdivision is made, and what do you have there? You have just a bunch of bare clay that hasn't anything ever growing in it. Um, and we need to regenerate the land. We need to regenerate clean water systems and regenerate forests as well. We're in an area that there have been forests for so long, and most of the ones around here have been clear cut, and they're in various early stages of succession. We need to regenerate the land for ourselves, for the creatures around us, and for our future too. Permaculture can be applied in pretty much any climate system, in the tropics, in high mountains, in desert areas, in the rainforest, the temperate rainforest where we are here. Pretty much every area, except perhaps Antarctica. Even urban and suburban permaculture projects have happened, which are very productive and very efficient. So what it is it's an approach to putting things in the correct place and interacting in the right way for an efficient design. So as far as in this area, some of the people are participants in the course, and I don't call them students, I call them participants because they're going to participate in the whole learning process, and
Mhm.
even doing some interesting hands-on projects. There's a little perk right there to think about. But they're going to get to see some examples that in this region that utilize permaculture techniques with the climate that we have. There's a lot of misconception of permaculture, and we hope to clear up some of that, and really go deep into all the possibilities it presents. I'd say that anyone who's interested in, if you've never heard of permaculture and don't know what it is, you
Mhm.
will gain a lot from this, and you'll have a really solid idea of what it is and how it can be implemented. You'll have an overview of how to create a design. It's not going to be as in depth as a full, 15 to 20-day course in permaculture design, but there's a lot that's going to be in there. If you already know something about it and want to take a deeper dive, this is also a great place for that too, to see some examples, to have some hands-on exercises, and to also learn with a learning community of people who are really passionate about it.
Well, thanks, Wade, and I look forward to seeing you in September when we have our first class.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well.